Hello, here I am doing an angel card reading for you, and this time I'm focusing on the week starting November the 11th, my favourite day of the entire year, to the 17th, 2019. So we have a full moon on Wednesday here in Sydney time. Check your local times, but it doesn't matter too much because you'll know around that time wherever in the world you are, because the energy is already building and it does hang around for a little while after. It's in the sign of Taurus. So Taurus is a sign of stability, of value, of sensory experiences, and also of work and money. So you can see how money and value align. And I'm not saying that money is necessarily valuable, but the way you think about it in terms of how it is valuable is important. So you might have insecurities coming up around this time that you need to let go of. You might have a reminder that you need to let go of something that's blocking you from aligning with your values. For example, if you value being treated with respect and you've got a friend who's not doing so, maybe this is your kind of time to let go of that. You might, if you put value and work together, and money as well, maybe you're in a job that pays well but doesn't actually bring value to your life because it's just completely draining, and there's a cost to your well-being, or the demands are too high, or whatever reason, or it just doesn't serve your purpose in some way. And you don't have to have a job that serves your purpose, but for some people that is important. So that might be something that you think about around this time and that you get prompted to let go of, or even if it's not letting go of a situation, it might be around letting go of ideas that you have around it. 'Cause sometimes it's our ideas or our limiting beliefs that actually block us from taking the action. You know, I could talk to you all day long about the importance of boundaries, but if you have a belief that it is my job to protect everybody else against anything bad happening to them, then it's going to be really hard for you to take that on board. And that's where energy healing helps. It's literally the reason I became an energy healer, is because I could see that just having the knowledge and the awareness is not enough. You need to clear the things that are blocking you on an energetic level from taking the steps that you need to take in order to transform. And of course, transformation is huge at the moment. We're all here to grow, but particularly at the moment with that big Scorpio sun energy. So Monday, let's get on with the cards. You didn't come here for astrology, but I do try and pull through messages that are relevant in a general sense. If you want specific astrology, I'm not your girl. So Monday we have use your imagination and you'll see the answer. Now I find this really interesting because our imagination is often dismissed as being fanciful or ridiculous. But we know that imagination is often a portal to creativity. So a lot of your great ideas will come from your imagination. It's not saying that what you visualize is literally a prophecy, or that it's literally what you need to do, but there will be elements within that. And often this speaks to the symbolism. For example, if you are dreaming about being in a car or some sort of vehicle, that is a symbol of how you are traveling through life. So it's not about, I need to be careful in a car because I obviously drive too fast, because I had a dream I was going too fast and the car spun out of control. That was probably a symbol that you're feeling out of control in your life because you're trying to move too quickly and not pay attention to what you actually need to do. So it's not about the way you drive, it's about the way you're operating through life, and that's something you might want to think about. That's just an example, but in terms of your imagination, it could be a daydream, it could be literally a dream, as I just said, or it could be more just about the way that ideas from your intuition are sort of transmitted to you. It might be in a visual sense, or it might be just, even if you're not visual in your intuition, you might get messages, as I do, more strongly through sound or through feelings, and I spoke about the terminology around that last time. That doesn't matter, because it's still, those ideas, even though they may come through in that form, can still be attributed to your imagination. We can easily write that off as being just our imagination, but in fact it probably was your imagination, but that doesn't discredit it in any way. That might be actually a good thing. It might be because it's the way it's just been conveyed to you, because the sounds that we get, our imagination can put some sort of meaning on that, and you might go, oh no, and then you might go, actually what I'm thinking in my imagination might be wrong, but maybe it's steering me in the right direction in some way. I'm not doing a very good job of explaining this, I don't think, but this is really just telling you to pay attention to those sort of divinely guided ideas that you get. And we've had a lot of messages around that lately, a lot. So I think whoa, no, the cards just went everywhere. That's not what we're going to do. I'll go back to the card deck I started with. I'm going here for Tuesday. I'm going to use this one for a little while. You are lovable. So the word perfection is such a strong word with this. When people are attached to perfection, it's really about fear. They have an idea around their lovability. I don't think it's a word, but let's go with it. If I am perfect, then I will earn love, then I will have value, then I will earn approval. And there could be a lot of reasons for that. Perhaps they grew up in a family where they were rewarded for achievements only and not just for being. They could have, they could have had a dynamic where, things that were perfect, the perfect room, the perfect scores at school, whatever, were recognised and everything else was ignored. And sometimes perfection is just a defence mechanism that people adopt as a way to feel safe. They don't feel like they're good enough, so they think if I have the perfect body or, the perfect home and, the perfect resume or whatever, then I'm a success, then I matter, and then I'll get the things that I want. And that may not be a conscious thought, but that's often what's going on underneath. Perfectionism is really dangerous because we're not supposed to be perfect. That's not the point. And what happens is people will set these goals. If I have the perfect body, whatever, just using that as an example, when they get to the weight they want, they don't feel the happiness they thought they would feel. They don't get the love they thought they would feel. They might get attention, won't last. It's because they don't really believe they're good enough on a deep level, and that's the problem. It's not the appearance, it's not the way the home looks, or the business card that's now got this great title on it. It's the fact that they don't feel good enough, and they're chasing after these external achievements which they think will give them that, or at least will shield them from negative consequences of not being good enough. So you really need with that card to look at what's going on underneath. Do you feel like you're good enough? So many people tell me that they don't, which is a false belief, but a very valid one, because if you feel it, it's valid. So obviously energy healing is a really good way to target that, but the card just wants to tell you that you are good enough and you're doing fine. So trying to reassure yourself that you're enough, that you're safe, that you're loved, all those sorts of things can be really helpful with that. And just a reminder also to look at the way you might be pursuing affection or approval, because they can sneak up on you. They really can. So I'm going back to this card deck for Wednesday, which I did before, and it sort of went everywhere. Oh, Wednesday. Yeah, we got a card. So we have Vanessa. This card always looks so sexual to me. I don't know what it is. I'll read it to you. To make your decision, ask yourself which way brings me closer to my divine purpose and which way takes me away from it. So they're really asking us to be cognizant of the choices that we're making, perhaps unconsciously, or the things that we're doing with our lives, the actions we're taking, and saying, is this actually what I want? So this is a good time to think about, am I just going along with what everybody is telling me is right for me? Am I going along with what everyone else is doing, even if they're not, outwardly saying this is what you should do? Am I going along with something purely because I don't know what else to do? Sometimes we get locked into the, if we're not feeling good enough, we'll think, if I just get a better job, then I'll feel okay about myself. Or again, the weight thing can be another one here. And it's not, again, those external achievements or, and I'm not saying they don't matter. Of course, definitely we should be striving to challenge ourselves. But if you're looking to that to give you a sense of self-worth and approval, it's probably not going to last. That's not going to be sustainable. So you might also be wanting to look at, because this is the end of the year and we're moving towards the new year, which is a time when people start to want to wipe the slate clean, to start over, to move in a new direction. And so you might be starting to think, how has this year gone for me? Have I made choices that match up with what I wanted to do? Maybe at the start of the year or in general. I wanted to cultivate a greater sense of meaning in my life. Have I really done that? And it's not about saying I failed. It's about saying, well, that didn't work. What else can I try? Because if you always do what you've always done, you're always going to get what you've always got. So looking at that, and maybe look at whether the choices you're making on a daily habit level are taking you away from what actually is right for you. If you believe in treating people kindly, but you keep going into a pattern of gossiping about people. You might like to look at what's going on there. Let's look at Thursday. That's actually a really good card for the full moon because it is talking about I totally just dropped all these cards. It is talking about letting go of what's not right. And I don't mean it not right in terms of you're screwing up, because there are no screw ups, there are only lessons and opportunities to move in a different direction. But looking at what actually isn't right for me any longer, what have I outgrown? Do I persist? No, I don't think I do persist with that card deck. Let me go. Yeah, okay. Now I'm struggling with decisions. I'm looking for the card deck that just feels right. I know that's vague, but here we go. Look deeper. Oh my goodness, the most Scorpio message ever. Look deeper. Scorpios are all about looking at what's going on underneath. I'm a Scorpio, so I obviously talk about Scorpio a lot. But that, because I like to know where the sun is at, because those are the themes that often come up. And it's true that in Libra season, which was sort of mid-September to mid-October, there are a lot of messages for me, I don't know if you guys noticed this, around balance, around relationships, harmony. Those sort of things came up for me in Libra season. So anyway, what's going on underneath here? Very much aligned with this card in terms of, why am I doing this? I know I don't want to do this. Why do I keep doing it? What's going on underneath? What am I looking for from this that I'm not getting elsewhere? I know I don't want to be drinking alcohol every day, but I keep doing it. What am I looking for here? Maybe the answer is peace, or I'm looking to treat myself. Well, why are those things not coming through in other areas of your life? How could you get those things from other areas? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with drinking alcohol, although obviously you guys know I don't drink, but it's the meaning that's attached to those. If it's something you don't want to be doing, what's going on there? It's not just about the habit, it's what's going on underneath. We have to look at the emotions. You can't just say, I'm going to stop doing this now and I have good willpower, so it will stick. It's not about willpower at all. It's about dealing with the emotions underneath. You can't change unless you heal those. So it might also be in terms of if you're in some sort of unhealthy pattern with someone else, a dynamic, what's going on underneath? Looking at what might be driving those sort of behaviours and that stuckness. Also not a word. I don't think, maybe it is. You guys know what I mean anyway, regardless. So Friday, shuffling now. Oh, I love this card. It is beautiful. Aine, I think Aine. I don't know the name of this particular goddess. I think she's Celtic though. Leap of faith. I love the imagery here. Take a risk and put your heart's true desire into action. Now, I love the symbolism of us pushing ourselves forward, but I would also add a cautionary note here. I, for a long time, believed that and I do have a quote about this saved. I have a whole bank of quotes that I post on Instagram from time to time. There's one I screenshotted that I want to put up sometime. It says, jump and the net will appear. In fact, I will put it up this week because it's so relevant. And that was something I believed for a long time, but it's just not true. It isn't enough to just have faith. We have to be dealing with what else is getting in our way. And that can be anything from family conditioning to our expectations to our limiting beliefs, our fears, as I said, the emotions that are going on underneath, our ideas about our value that can also be getting in our way. So although I do think this is a really powerful message, I would say it's only one piece of the puzzle. We need to be looking underneath as well. I know of a friend of a friend who wanted to change their career. And they had moved to another country, so it was sort of something she had to do. So she tried to dip her toe into something that she had no experience in, but she thought, oh, if I just, basically, I'll have a go at this, and I'm sure that I can make it work. And got very disappointed when it didn't work out for her. And so there was a combination of things going on there. Her expectations. You can't expect to try something brand new that you've got no experience in and think people are just going to hire you for it. Unfortunately, that's just how the world works. But also, she didn't go about it in terms of getting the experience first, and also just believing that I can do it is just not going to be enough. And I do think believing in yourself is important, but I also think for me personally, it's not enough, but also I'm never going to get to a point where I 100% think I can do anything. It's just not realistic. I'm human. There's always going to be doubts. I'm always going to freak out and go, this might go badly. So I will always aim to have a decent amount of self-belief, or at least an absence of silly messages around fear that are coming through. I don't believe it's possible to think you're invincible and that you can do anything at all. Although I do think it's a lovely message to send. I think it's just, it's part of the whole puzzle. We need to be looking at what else is going on here. So hopefully I haven't completely contradicted the message here. I do believe in this, but I do want to say there are other things that can go on as well. It's not just about having faith, but faith is important. If you don't believe that you're going to be supported when you make that move, when you take that leap, that you don't believe the universe is going to be there for you, then you're going to struggle. And I will give I just thought of a better example I should have given rather than that other person who I didn't give you enough. Wasn't a very good example because I didn't tell you what sort of field she was trying to do, which would have given you some better context. When I post that quote, I will give you an example from my own life that just occurred to me that would have been better. Oh well, we'll blame Mercury for that. And that noisy truck going past. So Saturday we have the crown chakra. The crown chakra is the top, obviously. It's the 7th of the main chakras. They are energy centers in our energy field that energy flows through. So when they are blocked, when they're out of balance, the energy gets stuck. It doesn't move properly. It affects our well-being. It affects our choices, all sorts of things, our emotions. In that specific area. So the crown chakra is about the way we think. It's about our connection to the divine as well. So interestingly, with the crown chakra, it's also about grounding. You can download all the divine ideas you want, but if you aren't grounded, you can't use them. You can't use them. We are souls having a human experience. We need to be able to take these ideas and put them into the human reality. And one of the reasons I started this account, I didn't find a lot of people doing that. I found when I was starting on my spiritual journey, a lot of people who were not grounded. I didn't know that was what was going on. I just knew it didn't match up. They were spouting all this new agey talk, but there was no application to how I could actually use this in the real world. There were no examples given. It was the jargon being recited, but yeah, it was like a poem. I was getting a lot of poems and nothing applicable, nothing really helpful in any meaningful way. So grounding is important. And one of the best ways to ground yourself is to walk with bare feet on the earth. So sand, dirt, grass, only if it is safe for you to do so. I wouldn't recommend this in your local park. In your backyard, hopefully you know, probably not going to be any syringes there. Maybe you're safe to do that. The sand, I do this a lot because being near the ocean is cleansing your energy as well. So that has a double kind of whammy there, but I know that's not practical for some of you. So going back to this crown chakra, people who have trouble sleeping can have some crown chakras blocks sometimes because it has a lot of, it plays a role in the melatonin regulation, and which makes sense on a logical level. If you can't sleep, it's probably because you're not relaxed enough, because you are so worried and so anxious about what's going on. You feel like you have to control everything. You can't let go of your worries and your problems for a minute, because then you'll feel unsafe. You feel like you have to stand guard over them. You can't surrender them. You can't let go. It's a whole cycle. Where was I going with this? So definitely overthinking, overanalysis, anxiety are all tied up with this crown chakra. And there can be a lot of other reasons we can't sleep, of course, as well. Insomnia has been a long-term problem for me, so I know all about it. I'm just focusing on this one aspect at the moment. But the card says, pay attention to your ideas, as they are messages of true divine guidance, sent in answer to your prayers. So you can see the theme emerging here again about trusting your intuition and really paying attention to that. But as I said, we need to also be aware of what might be blocking us to do this. If you think you might have a crown chakra block, and I will post an article about this on the day. If you don't want to wait for that, you can just go to my website, www.onegroundedangel, and go to the search field, type in crown chakra, or just crown will probably bring it up. And if you're on a phone, the search field is at the bottom, so you need to scroll to past the few articles I've got there. I usually have 4 on my homepage. Anyway, you'll find it. If you think you have a block there, Reiki can be good. Apparently acupuncture, I'm not sure about that. Acupuncture has only ever had short-term effects for me. I think it's great, but it's not had any lasting, sustainable impact on my life, except in some physical areas. Kinesiology. I forgot what it was. Sorry, I'm just trying to decide whether to go down a tangent. I don't think it will. I will just say that energy healing can be really good for this, but you also might like to look at the reasons for having these issues, looking deeper again. So, Sunday. I'm really sorry. They're doing roadworks outside. I completely forgot about it, and hopefully that's not too distracting for you. I'm not sure if I've got the right card deck here. I just remembered with that Friday card, the Leap of Faith, it does remind me very much of the card we had last week, the child card. I talked about having the trust and the faith of a child to know things are going to be okay. So Sunday's card is freedom. Boundless freedom surges through me. I love that there's a horse here. Running free as horses should be, not in a freaking horse race. Don't get me started on that. Australians will know what I'm talking about. So freedom is an interesting one. Most of the people who come to see me for energy healing will say, I feel stuck. And perhaps it's because it's in my branding, because it's a word I use, it's very strong. And it's because they don't have they feel like they don't have the freedom to get the life they want to have. They're too confined by other people's expectations, family obligations, a perceived lack of time, a perceived lack of money. And I'm saying perceived because, not because they're not right about those those lacks. I'm just saying that their perceptions may be exacerbating that problem. So this is asking you to look for ways to seek out freedom from the things that may be keeping you stuck. And there's a lot of different ways this could be showing up. Maybe you feel like time constraints. We don't find time, we make time. So maybe it's about, as Wednesday's card alluded, prioritizing your time better. So seeking out freedom from whatever is bothering you at the moment. It's a very human response to go, once my problems disappear, I will be happy and everything will be okay. Once I reach this deadline at work, my problems will disappear. Once I get through Christmas, I will feel more relaxed. Once I get this job, I won't be stressed about money and I'll feel safe and everything will be okay. But guess what? The goalpost keeps shifting. You get to there, you find something else. Something else is going to make you feel unsafe, unloved, unworthy. I was going to say ungood enough. It's not a word. Yeah. I think maybe that is Mercury. Mercury's about communication here. I'm really making up words here. But there's always going to be something. So it's not the problem you're focusing on necessarily. It may be what's going on underneath that you need to be looking at. And that seems to be a pretty big theme here, doesn't it? So getting freedom from the things that are keeping you trapped. The idea that I have to please everybody else, that I have to compete with everybody else. That's a big one. A lot of people are in competition with other people. I don't even bother looking at what other people around me are doing. Of course, I support my friends and what they're doing, but I'm not looking at them going, oh, well, I suck because I haven't got a house that looks like that, or I've never earned that much money, or whatever it is. So that might be one way that you need to set yourself free. Set yourself free from, if you're a woman, from the idea that you have to look beautiful, that you have to be a particular weight, a particular skin color, whatever it is. Set yourself free, because that is a trap. Big time. And even if you happen to get that thing, you won't feel like you're good enough because you've bought into this idea. So the big theme, as I mentioned, for the week is about looking at what's really going on underneath and going after that big Scorpio stuff there. Thinking about whether the choices that you're making, the actions you're taking really serve you and are really in alignment with what you want. And as I mentioned with that Taurus full moon, value. What are your values? What do you value? Your family, maybe? Depends on the dynamics within your family, I guess. See, I know a lot of people don't have a lot of people have got toxic families. Do you value money? It's okay to value money as long as you're seeing it for what it brings you rather than valuing it for what it represents in terms of status. What else is going? Yeah, taking charge of our thought patterns, and yeah, that's big actually with that freedom card, I would say. yeah, anyway, that's it for the week. I could go on, I won't. I'll sign off now. Thanks for watching. I'll be back next week. If you want to make a personal appointment, the best way to do that is via my website, www.onegroundedangel.com, onegroundedangel.com. And of course you can reach me via my social media. I don't check my DMs all that often because I do get a lot of weird messages. When I say weird, I mean people demanding free readings. I don't mean unusual, although there are some unusual ones in there sometimes. You can also reach me via Facebook, and I do post articles and videos and various things I find on there as well, which you might find helpful, but you don't have to be on Facebook to find that. The group's just called One Grounded Angel. Well, group, it's my page. And that's it. I'm not on TikTok. I don't even really know what that is. So thank you very much, and I'll be back next week. Have a good week.